So one of my best friends is having a baby real soon. She's due in November, but she's at the point of her pregnancy where the baby could come at any time. Today is October 23rd and her baby shower is actually this weekend. And I had this idea a long time ago where I wanted to make felt baby milestone numbers, like the ones that you use to take pictures of your baby next to the numbers. And I don't know, just have an aesthetic Instagram post. But even though I had this idea a long time ago, I've kind of procrastinated on this, and I really just want to get this done in time for her baby shower because, like I said, baby could come any day, so the least I can do is get this done before the shower. And I'm actually feeling a little bit under the weather today. I'm pretty sure it's just allergies, so I'm so sorry if you can hear that in my voice. I think I will try to do some of this video in voiceover when I feel better, so hopefully my voice doesn't sound like this through the whole video. If it does, I'm sorry in advance. But anyway, I've already told my friend that I was planning to make this for her so that she didn't purchase something like this, or just to make sure no one had gifted her something like this. And since this is not a surprise, I started off by asking her what her nursery colors are, and she told me that she's using mint, so I'm using mint felt for these numbers. And the first step to doing this is I'm going to pick out a font for the numbers for me to go off of. If you are following along, feel free to freehand these numbers, but I kind of want to look for a rounded font specifically to kind of go off of. So let me go ahead and pick a font. I feel like that's going to take me forever because I can look at fonts for hours and hours. So let me go ahead and do that now. I found my font. It's called Chalkboard, and I believe it's a default font. And then to size my numbers and letters correctly, I just made a square that is 3.5 inches by 3.5 inches, and I increased the size of my font to be roughly that size. Now to process this font into a pattern, I'm just going to create outlines, then go to Object, Path, and Offset Path by 1/4 inch. And just to make everything easier to see, I'm going to go ahead and change up the colors and make the fill white and the stroke black so that it'll be ready to print out. So that's my pattern, and I just need to add more pages to this document so that it'll be ready to print out. Now I'm just sketching over some numbers where I wanted to smooth out the lines just so it'd be easier to sew. Funny enough, it was really just the numbers on this page plus the 5. And then I cut out all my paper patterns. I placed my number patterns on the felt to prepare to cut them out, and luckily felt doesn't have a grain line, so I just placed the patterns however would be best to make use of the fabric. Then I just cut out all my numbers in the felt twice, and for the 1 and the E, I cut them out 4 times since I needed to make 2 of each. I'm not gonna lie to you, cutting these out took a while, but this is the kind of activity that you could do while watching TV. The next day, I just sewed around the edge at 1/4 seam allowance, leaving a small hole for the stuffing. Because I just wanted to test this out at first, I went ahead and stuffed this one immediately and sewed the hole closed. When I went to sew the hole closed, I went ahead and switched to my invisible zipper foot. And here's how that first one came out. Isn't it so cute? Since I confirmed that this would actually work, I went back into assembly line mode and sewed all the rest of the numbers and letters up, leaving a hole. It was actually not as hard as I thought it would be. I just needed to go slow around the curves and keep my thumb near the presser foot lever so I could quickly maneuver and rotate the fabric around if needed. I think this would have been even easier if I had a freehand embroidery foot, but I don't have one, so I can't really test that theory. But anyway, this part really flew by, and I actually feel like cutting out all the letters and numbers in felt took longer than this part. Here's all the letters and numbers sewn up. Then I stuffed all the numbers and letters, which was actually a little difficult. I tried to leave my gaps on the sides of the numbers or letters where I could easily sew it back up with my machine, but sometimes the placement of my gap made stuffing certain parts kind of hard. but I just took my time with it, and I used this wooden stick from my loop turner to help me press in the stuffing, but I also think a chopstick would work well. One thing that worked really well for me was grabbing small handfuls of polyfil and rolling them up in my hands to make little balls before stuffing it into the numbers. Then I realized that I initially forgot the 0, so I had to go back and make that one, but then after I had every number and letter stuffed, it was time to sew all my work closed. And here's how they look all finished. I'm so happy with how they turned out. They look even cuter than I imagined. My friend really loved them too, and she sent me a picture that I could share so I could see how it would all come together in her nursery. I'm so excited for her. If you try making this gift, please tag me. I would love to see it, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!